All right, we are live. We are covering the Scythe Digital Edition Tournament. This is round 4, group 8. And we have the combinations in front of us. And Rusviet Innovative rears its ugly head again. It's a incredibly powerful combination, especially compared to what we have on the board. We have two IFA factions, Albion, one of the weaker mats, engineering, Nordic agricultural, and Tagawa patriotic. Let's take a look real quick at our handy dandy tier list. You see that Albion engineering is rated D. Nordic agricultural is rated C. Tagawa patriotic is rated D as well. And then Rusviet innovative is SS. So we see, that's right, Daniel, party time. Got a tournament game we're covering today. Announcing. See Rusviet Innovative already up to 12. Expecting it to go a good bit higher. Yeah, it should be a great game. Be interesting to see how high Rus Innovative goes for. You get a good objective with it, it can cover a lot of coin. No doubt about that. Ghost Wheel, who's in this game, took Rusviet Innovative in the first round for 30 coin and covered the spread and then quite a bit. Rail bids it up to 20 right there. They're not messing around. F2P Engineer wants nothing to do with it though. He jumps over to Nordic Agricultural, which is probably the second most powerful combination on the board, but Ghost Wheel not wanting to give up that Rusviet Innovative just yet. Rusviet Innovative is so crazy powerful because it is so fast that it can get out on the board and spread out over the entire board before most of the factions have even left their home base. It just has an ability to do that that's just unrivaled in this game. And since most of your points are going to come from territories in a game, getting that early spread and getting to 6 stars can easily mean that you win by 30 points if everything goes smoothly. Now, you could be in a bit of trouble if you don't get an objective you can complete. Most objectives are reasonably completable. You get a really good one, you could see a 12-turn game with Rusviet Innovative. You get a bad one, you could see quite a few more turns than that. But most objectives probably won't slow you down more than 2 or 3 turns. Caitlin coming in there with 26, Ghost Wheel at 27. No one wants to give up Rus Innovative yet. I mean, it's probably going to have to go up quite a bit because I'm not sure anyone wants to play these other combinations very much. I mean, we don't have anything. In looking at this tier list, we don't have anything above a C tier on the board. Just have C and D against an SS. So this is going to have to get quite a big bid on Rus Innovative, or they're going to be willing to end this bidding, I think. That 27 bid by Ghost Wheel is giving the others some pause. Rail specifically has been thinking about this for a little bit. Every coin feels precious at this point. For those of you who are new to the bidding structure, what we're doing here is this is a tournament game. This is round 4 of the preliminary rounds. So these players are fighting for points based on how they end in the game, first, second, third, or fourth. Try to advance to the out rounds. And what this is since these 3 faction mat combinations are not balanced, they are bidding in-game coins on them. So whatever the bid is that you see on your screen will be subtracted from the in-game score for that player if they win the combination. So right now, if Rail and Caitlin were to go and bid on Tagawa Patriotic and Albion Engineering, the bidding would end and Ghost Wheel would get Recipe and Innovative, but have to beat everyone by 27 coins. Now Rails bid 28, so same deal, only 28 instead of 27, obviously. Caitlin, and she's given this some thought. Ghost Wheel takes it up to 30. 28 straight to 30. That's exactly what he bid on it in the first round, and he covered it and then some. I think he got about 80 coins in something like 14 rounds. Everyone else was kicking around 30 something. And especially with the combinations he's up against, Gawa Patriotic and Albion Engineering just tend to be so slow. And the fact that you have two IFA factions in the game, Rustviet is going to be able to find combats. They won't have much power, but they can abuse people's army and attack Albion, attack Tagawa. Nordic can stay at home, and Rustviet can't invade Nordic's base, but with Tagawa on the board, they won't have to. Because Rustviet can just exit through their village tunnel and attack Tagawa pretty quickly if they're so inclined and they're willing to risk a trap token. Rail pondering that 30 coin bid. Not sure if he wants to take that up any higher or not. Hard to blame him. Rustviet Innovative is unrivaled in this game, but it's 30 coins is a lot. I mean, Rustviet Innovative usually will end in tier 1 popularity. So 30 coins comes out to about 15 territories, which is about all you could expect to get in a game, right? That's 8 workers plus 4 mechs is 12, character is 13. So even with full spread, you're talking about all your territory going to the bid, and then a star. Yeah, I agree, Derp. 30's high, but Ghost Wheel covered it in round 1 and then some. He got about 80 coins, I think, in like 14 rounds. The rails off on Tagawa Patriotic now, which is not a bad choice. It's hard to... Nordic Agricultural suffers with Albion in the game, so Tagawa Patriotic's probably not a bad call. And there it is. We have the bids. We have Albion at 0. We have Tagawa at 1. We have Rustviet, and I'm inputting these in so we can have them on the screen, at 30. And we have Nordic at 0. All right, let's get Scythe booted up here. Yeah, I think that's right, Derp. I think normally you might like Nordic Agricultural if Albion wasn't in the game. So right now they are making a play and go game where you get to select the mats. Looks like it's right here actually. Tournament Group 8. And who do we got? We got Ghost Wheel and we've got Rail on our buddy list. So we will jump into this game in just a minute. This is the game right here. Got a different name. Maybe they had to recreate it. Maybe someone messed up the mat selection. Rosfield's not got a lot of room for error here. I mean, unless he decides to go for a tier 2 or a tier 3 game, which would be hard without a popularity factory card, he's gotta spread and get his combats quickly. If the other factions get a chance to get on the other side of their engines and spread out, it is going to be potentially difficult to cover that bid. Gao with the possibly insignificant 1 coin, although we've seen 1 coin separate first and second. Saw that in the last game in this tournament. There we go. We are in. So we've got Ghost Wheel on Rustviet, Caitlin's on Tagawa, Rail is on Albion, and F2P Engineering is on Nordic. This, of course, starts with Albion Engineering. Hey, Yosita, what's going on? We're covering a digital edition tournament game tonight. We've got 4 players here fighting for a chance to get enough points to hopefully move on to the out rounds. The bids on the left of the screen, I don't know if you're familiar with the bidding system, but basically Rustviet's got to win by 30 coins in order to actually be declared the victor. It's Rustviet innovative. I mean, he may get it, he may not, but it's not. The very same player made the very same bid on the very same faction and mat, Rustviet innovated, in round 1 and covered the bid by a mile. Now, he may see some more challenging play in this game that he saw in the first round, but certainly capable of meeting that bid. So Rustviet going for 2 oil early, probably going to trade for an oil and a metal next. Albion going ahead and setting up for their first upgrade, since they have produce over upgrade and it costs them 3 oil. Nordic may be looking at a move action now, since they traded for oil in the first turn. Maybe looking to upgrade something early. Hey Lee Infidel, how's it going? We're covering round 4 of a tournament here. Just commentating, I suppose. Okay, yeah, we've got that move action out of Nordic, and he's doubling up on that oil, so he's probably looking to produce and do another upgrade here in the next few turns. Expecting a trade for 1 oil and 1 metal out of Rustviet here. Probably upgrade his move and his deploy. Allow some more flexibility with moving around the board and allow him to get out 2 mechs by the time he hits 8 workers. Okay, so we saw a upgrade to the deploy for Nordic. Nordic may be wanting to be able to outright trade for mechs instead of having to produce metal to create them. There it is. Rustviet trades. We're going to upgrade. And they go move deploy. Yeah, no Polania to hold Rustviet in check, although Polania has a hard time holding Rustviet Innovative in check because Rustviet gets those mechs out so quickly. Gonna drop the trap token on the Tundra. Yes. The Gawa setting themselves up perhaps for a upgrade to their produce. Well, their enlistment. Maybe move enlist. Yeah. And then a double produce of food for an early enlistment out of them. So we're expecting a produce out of Albion. What they upgrade, though, is going to tell us a little bit about where they intend to take this MAC combination. Albion Engineering is one of those that, in all honesty, I'm not really completely sure what to do with. He's going to go for deploy. Despite the fact he gets no coin for them and they are expensive, he's going to work on getting out some max, it looks like. It's probably good news for Rustviet. Although if Albion stacks up the max, it can make Rustviet's life more difficult. And there's that produce out of Nordic. That 2 oil. Rustviet getting the first mac once they hit 3 workers. Probably going to see 2 more produces out of Rustviet and a second mac and 8 workers the next few turns. Comes a produce for 2 food from Tagawa. See which enlistment they take. The deploy enlist would be a good call here with Rustviet getting these mechs out quickly and Albion upgrading the deploy. But they also may want to go for cards, so let's see what they have in mind here. Those of you just joining us, this is Caitlin on Tagawa, Ghost Wheel on Rustviet. We've got F2P Engineering on Nordic, and Rail is on Albion. I think that's a good call. Go for that deploy enlist. With Albion, looks like they're going to make mechs, and Rustviet is certainly going to make 3 more mechs. There's no question about that. Albion, they're going to do something with this food. Not completely sure what their game plan is here yet. Could see another trade for oil to set up another upgrade. Another upgrade on their enlist would allow them to enlist when they move, but no, we're going to go ahead and see a move action. Albion maybe make for one of those encounters. There's no one else out on the board. You might consider going for the... Whoa! Albion makes an aggressive play. I mean, it makes sense. Get out on the board, get on some metal. You have to really think hard about number 3 here. It absorbs your popularity, but you get a free enlist off of this. You can get an enlist off of the second option as well. I guess the question is, what do you want more? Do you want $3 or do you want 2 pop? Yeah, I mean, Derp, you get the worker too. He did not upgrade his produce, so he can't make use of all 3 workers. Three coins expensive. If it's me, I'm definitely tempted to throw down the popularity. But he's thinking about it. He is... There it is. You called it, Derp. Okay, which enlist is he going to take? Almost certainly going to take combat cards off the bonus. Got a little bit of thinking about it to do because he's not sure Tagawa or Nordic has much interest in building mechs right now. A little different than Tagawa's position where he can be pretty sure both the neighbors are going to build mechs. Could go for that upgrade enlist, but that's taking a risk. Nordic's going to get one more upgrade. No guarantee they'll get any more after that. And Tagawa moved off oil in the first move. It's a hard call. You're Albion. I think I kind of lean toward the deploy enlist. Tagawa's still sitting on that food. Tempts you a little bit to go with that combat card recruit. Let's look at the coin situation. Everyone's about tied on the coin front. Gawa having a lead of 1. Too far into the game the game has started too recently for us to have any idea from the scores what's going to happen. Of course, the low bids technically ahead right now. And he went with the combat card enlist. I don't hate that choice. I mean, you know Tagawa's probably going to do more enlists. And you can get combat cards off your own enlist. Downside is you are going to be bleeding some coin as you make your max, since you didn't take that deploy enlist. Nordic moving to forest. What's his move action over? Nordic already has oil, so he doesn't need to use that $2 for 3 resources to gain oil. 2 food isn't enough, so he's going to go for 3 resources. We could see metal right here. We could see food. I mean, if he wants to build buildings, we could even see wood. It looks like he's just going to go with the food and set himself up for an enlist. That round took a while between those 2 encounters. Rusty probably not going to hesitate and just produce. Nordic upgrading their deploy, so now they can trade for their mechs even without metal on the board. No hesitation out of Rusviet. Rusviet's employing a pretty familiar opening with the innovative board. Albion electing to stay at 3 workers. Produces the oil and produces the metal, but not on the village. See a bolster into an enlist for Nordic. What is he going to enlist? I mean, I think you take the deploy enlist here, and there it is. Rusviet probably looking at 8 workers here and another mech. Probably speed. They've set themselves up now that they can, they'll probably do is move 1 worker to that mountain next turn and 6 workers to the farm. 2 produces. whether they elect to move between them or not. Going to give them enough food, foreign lists, and enough metal for their last 2 mechs. Such a fast strat. Gawa electing to go with enlist number 2. Probably looking at the combat card recruit. No, power. That's interesting. And we see an objective out of Tagawa. I think we got balanced workforce. That explains the 2-worker strategy. They now have the same number of workers and recruits. In this game, if you're Albion, I think you want to get some territories fairly early in the game. Albion electing not to drop a flag on that tundra a few turns ago. Sitting on the rally mech. I think I turned on the paint for the mechs. You guys like it? I usually just have them on the default setting. There's what we thought. What mech did Nordic go with? Speed mech. It's a little interesting considering he already has the encounter. He doesn't have a way to leave his home base. What it probably means is he's going to be building another mech before he intends to move anyway, so he's not really that concerned about the order. Nordic still at 2 workers though. Got those workers ways away from his village. He has an upgraded move action, so he could move them with 1 move mech to here and then jump 2 workers over to this village. But he's hemmed in right now pretty substantially. Rusviet has a game plan and has no interest in messing with Nordic. He's not really worried about Nordic in this game. He just wants to execute his game plan, get his stars, get his territories, and go home. Gawa moving to that encounter now. Going to be getting the encounter, and hopefully for Tagawa not forgetting to drop that all-important trap. Tagawa sitting on 2 power. Rusviet also at 2 power. I'm just spectating, Poach Trout. This is a tournament game. So we've got 4 players in round 4 of the tournament. And after this game, the point totals of everybody is going to determine who moves on in the tournament. What Tagawa go with there? Just took the 2 food and the pop. Gawa maybe hoping to get into tier 2 to stall Rusviet from ending this game, but with that patriotic mat sitting at 3 pop, they've got a long way to go. Look at Albion making a play for the factory. We're going to pick up one of those cards to maybe supplement their economy. They are throwing themselves out on that board. Yeah, Poach Trout, Rusviet is Rusviet innovative. The hands down strongest combination of this game. Interestingly, the player who bid 30 on Rustviet this game also bid 30 on Rustviet Innovative the first round of the tournament and beat everybody by about, I want to say 45 to 50 coins. So he can definitely cover this bid. Doesn't mean he will though. Got some good players in this game. And they know what's coming. There's that first produce for 6 food. One more produce gives him enough for the rest of his enlists. May choose to go ahead and move. Wouldn't be a bad call. Maybe going to this tunnel with the workers, grabbing an encounter and getting his first enlist. Got People's Army, not Township. So still no one in attacking range. It's a good question, Derp. I didn't check it. He took a combat card for 3 resources. So Albion hoping to drive an engine off his factory card. And we're back around to Albion. Probably going to see him use that factory card if I had to guess. Gawa right now in the lead, 28 coins. Which is significant because they don't have a lot of territory yet. And if they can hold at 28, that means Rustviet's got to hit 58. Which it's very easy to hit 50 in 12 turns with Rustviet. Innovative. But when you start to talk about hitting 60 plus, it's a little bit more complicated. You need some more spread. And at some point, you've got to start thinking about you're going to need more popularity. Albion thinking about this turn. Not sure I've ever seen Albion drop its very first flag token on the factory. So that's something. Maybe this encounter. Yeah, Albion grabs the encounter. I mean, the $2 for the 4 metal is the standout here, I think. Nordic now sitting on not that many coins, not that many territories. 1 mech. 2 mechs now. Not very far along in any sort of economic game. So we're probably going to see either another produce action or a move out of Rustviet right now. Trick with moving, if you're Rustviet, is that you don't really want to take your workers off that food spot. But if you move, you get to go ahead and grab an enlist and start benefiting from it. Expecting Nordic to trade for some more mechs. Expecting Tagawa this turn to enlist. You hate to see how many enlists Tagawa's already done though if you're Rustviet. Those are combat cards you've missed out on. He's gotten to the part of his game where it's not completely scripted. He's got to start thinking about what he's going to do, which actions he's going to take. Yeah, Derp, I like the move to the tunnel food. Downside of that, he's going to do it, is he's going to bring the food with him. I don't know about that move. But he's going to take 2 mechs. Albion's sitting on more power. Russ has 1 power that he can't spend because he has to produce. Well, he is going to probably get 2 power off of this enlist he's about to do. And we missed the objective there. He just gained $2 in popularity. combat card in list, and he just went ahead and took the 2 combat cards. Maybe that means that the combat cards he was sitting on are not that good. I mean, do you think about attacking here if you're Albion? You've got 3 power. You've got a 5 card, you could throw down 8. Rusty would have to have some good cards. Is Albion thinking about it? I think Albion was going to produce this turn, was the plan. Why they set themselves up with metal, but they also have 3 food. They used their factory card last time, and they can only reach Rustviet with 1 unit. But it might be worth it for them. They lose the combat, they don't lose that much. Except accelerating Rustviet's game. They lose the metal, of course. Which is a big setback if you're Albion. Of course, you don't have a worker on that character. No opportunity to double up there. But you can get the resources off that character if you're afraid of them being stolen. Rustviet probably has no interest in that metal. They're planning on producing 1 more time. We'll get them their last mech effortlessly. I've been thinking long and hard about this. Take a look at the score. Gawa and Albion both in the lead right now. Rustviet's still early in their stars. Yeah, Feast for Crows. It's Rustviet Innovative, and it's everybody else. We got Albion Engineering, we've got Gawa Patriotic, and we've got Nordic Agricultural. Nordic making a play for the factory now. Let's see what else was in that stack of factory cards. Almost certainly going to see a produce out of Rustviet, but now Nordic in striking distance with 3 combat cards and 7 power. Rustviet can enlist again, grab some power, increase the incentive to hit him. But if he does have People's Army now, so he could put a his 4th mech on this farm tunnel, play up to all 4 of his cards if he has to. Hero of Canton, how's it going, man? The mats were drawn randomly. It's a tournament game, and this is a bidding game, so the mats and factions are drawn randomly, and then players are given an opportunity to bid on each one. And the amount they bid for each one is in the bottom left of your screen there. Rustviet bid 30. That means at the end of the game, 30 is going to be subtracted from Rustviet's score. So in a nutshell, Rustviet has to win by 30-31. Has to win by 30 to tie. And has to win by 31 to win. So now Rustviet has 2 stars. And for the rest of the game, we're probably just going to see Rustviet continually move. Probably not going to take another action on his mat the rest of the game, besides the move action. So here's the question: if you're Rustviet now, can you win this game in Tier 1? The Gawa's sitting on 30 coins right now. You have to get to 60 to win this game. It probably means you are not ending in 2 turns. Rustviet Innovative is certainly capable of ending in 2 turns, but with 4 stars is 12. It gets you up by 8. You need another 24, which is 12 territories. And you can't add 12 territories to what you already have because 13 is your max, right? And you're going to be burning some resources. I think Rustviet Innovative is harder with Tagawa, dealing with the traps while spreading, potentially missing out on another encounter. I think that's a good point. One nice thing about Tagawa, even though it's not super relevant in this game, is you can guarantee that you can access combats early because they're so close to your home base, and they don't, I mean, I guess they could keep their character on their home base, but they don't have a viable alternative to pushing up the board. Hard to deny Rustviet Innovative combats if Tagawa's in the game. Certainly there are opportunities abound for Rustviet right now to get combats. Nordic going for that encounter. I mean, you don't need the medal if you're Nordic, so I mean, I guess you take the enlist, right? You've upgraded your deploy twice. You can get mechs without getting any medal. I mean, since your trade action's over your deploy, you can theoretically convert that medal to anything you want by trading for something else and then spending the medal to get the mag. But I'm not entirely sure what Nordic's game plan is. They've been sitting on that wood since almost the beginning of the game and they haven't used it. Hard to tell what their goals really are right now. Sitting at 3 popularity. Not that close to another tier. Just going to take the 2 medal and the pop. Nordic close to Rustviet. I don't think this is the board that Rustviet wanted to see 10 rounds into the game. A lot of people out on the board. A lot of territory is being occupied right now. Combats abound. But Rustviet's going to have... I mean, there's the factory, right? So we said what? Rustviet has to pick up 34 points. Okay. Still have 4 stars to get, that's 12. That leaves 22. That means they need 11 territories. The factory would be 3. Means they would need 8. Which is just about full spread for them. They have 9 units on that farm. So if they spread out every single worker there to its own space and every single mech there to its own space, they would have enough spread to cover their bid. What do they do now? We also obviously don't know what the objective is, which is going to play significantly into Rusviet's decision making. The only thing we do know is they are going to move. I think if you're Rusviet and innovative, you would love to see an encounter right now that gives you 3 popularity. I don't think they've taken the 2 popularity off their enlist yet. So despite being at 2 pop, if you could pull an objective at $2 for 3 popularity, you could actually be sitting at tier 2 at the end of this turn, which would just be phenomenal for them because there are exposed characters and mechs all over this board. You can't know that you're not going to drop pop if you jump to Gawa over here, but Albion's got a character on this village. You've got a mech on this forest tunnel. Rusviet electing to take a lot of their workers with this one mech. A little surprising. Oh, human shield. We're going to see human shield right here. Rusviet going to go ahead and nab that objective. Hero of Canton, does Russ need to win to advance to the next round? It will depend on how everyone else does. I think Rusviet can get second and at least make it to a survivor's game, just based on some number crunching I've done. But I can't say for sure. First place would almost certainly guarantee Rusviet makes it to the next round. And that was quick, but we're almost sure that was human shield. Have 5 workers in a territory adjacent to the factory. So that's great for Rusviet to go ahead and pick that up, and they needed to pick it up now because now that they've picked it up, they have to spread. The only thing about grabbing the objective now, though, is after 2 moves in their enlist, they're at a point where they have to be ahead or they can't win combats. And these players are good enough to know that. So if you see Rusviet put themselves in a situation where they have 5 stars, don't have the most coin by a long shot, you're going to see other players start diving them for free combats. Checking on that score. Rusviet still needing now 66. Past Tagawa. I didn't look at it. I didn't check on Albion there. Albion now dropping to 18, which is a rough spot to be in. Significantly behind Tagawa now. Still technically ahead of Rusviet, but quite spread out. What did Rusviet take off that last encounter? 2 food and a popularity. I wouldn't be surprised this turn to see Rusviet move this character to the factory. 2 players have already been there. If there's a popularity factory card in there, it probably would already be gone by now. Albion might not have taken it. with them spinning popularity early. But Nordic sitting on 4, there's a good chance they would have. What do you do if you're Nordic now? I think if you're Nordic, you've got to get more workers somehow. And you've run a decent coin engine, aside from Tagawa, who's well, right now after you subtract the bids, blowing everybody's doors off. But you've got to be able to pick up some territory as Nordic. Because the way the strategy you've embraced so far, there's a good chance you're not going to be the one who ends this game. Gawa now at 4 enlists with their objective. Look like they're going to start creating mechs. Rusviet has 6 combat cards and they have all their mechs out. The unfortunate thing about having the food out on the board here is if he spreads too thin, the food becomes vulnerable. Hey, cheese fries, Australia. I think that's Australia. Yes, Russ is innovative, which has been bid on very high this tournament so far. Tagawa has the patriotic mat. And just to bring you up to speed, here's the score right now. Rusviet, of course, sitting at 1 coin after the bid. And everybody else, I mean, we have a 1 coin bid on Tagawa, but everyone else, essentially, their scores are what they are. You know, I think you're sweating a little bit if you're Rusviet. You really didn't want Tagawa to have 36 points by round 11. And you can spread out, you can take the factory. But you might need tier 2 popularity at this point. And if there's no popularity factory card, how are you going to get it? I don't know, what do you guys think? You think you can get to 70 coins with Rusviet Innovative with in tier 1 popularity? I mean, I'm not sure you can in a 4-player game with this much spread already on the board. I mean, it may technically be possible, but is he going to be able to pull it off? Derp says possibly, but he'd need more coins. Where's he going to get them? Nah, Russ screwed, lol. Levi doesn't believe in Russ. Might get second. Chat is not on Team Rusviet right now. And the time he's taking to make his next move probably means he's worried. Might go hit Tagawa now. My second biggest threat. Many threats. I don't think Russ would have won by 30 to start with. I hear you, cheese fries. This crazy thing, this same player, this same tournament in round 1 bid exactly 30 on Rusviet Innovative. And he got like 80 coins. Beat everybody by like 45 or 50. Yeah, I think Feast for Crows and Dirt make a good point here. I think you've got to think about committing to tier 1 popularity and just saying, you know, I don't care if you have traps Tagawa. I don't care. Character's going home, then your workers are going home, then that worker's going home, then I'm flipping this trap. I'm going to drive you back to your base with 0 territories. and be about driving your point total down. I mean, it's hard because 21 of these 36 points are wrapped up in coins, which Rust-V obviously can't take away. But if you can get Tagawa off the board and knock their point total down there, suddenly the mid-50s, well, that's a lot more doable. And Nordic's only at 23 and Albion's only at 18, so if Rust-V can get Tagawa's score down, that may be their best chance. I'm going to check in with these players and make sure. Just thinking, guys. It's all good, just making sure. Rust-V's just thinking. And Albion pointed out, Rail pointed out that he's taken just as much time. If you look at the clocks up there in the top right, both Rust-V and Albion sitting at about 15 minutes used each. So let's think about if you're Tagawa. You're in the driver's seat here, but you're vulnerable. Probably want to convert that metal into a mech next turn. Going to pick up 3 coins for doing it. You're also going to pick up 3 power and put yourself in a position where you have 8 power and 8 combat cards. You are not a easy target for Rust-V, especially if one of these is a power trap, and one of these almost certainly is. So Tagawa makes their mech. And then they obviously could produce again to get some more metal. I think the tunnel trap is cards. I think that's a trap that Rust-V doesn't want to see, right? I mean, they've got 6 of them, but that's, with this low powers they have, that's not a ton. Tagawa has the enlist star. They have all of those enlists. They went for the enlist early, and it mostly paid off for them. All right, going for a combat against Albion. And some spread. Oh. Rust-V going to pick up their first combat here. Not taking any chances here. Yeah, the positioning of Rust-V, it's a little odd here, because if they win this combat, they're surrounded by their workers. So they have to move 2 spaces before they can even begin to pick up more territory. So maybe they're planning on spreading into Crimea's home base. So I'm not sure what you do if you're Albion here. Yes. Yes, Scarlett Miller. This is a game called Scythe, a digital version of a board game. Taking the encounter with the 3rd move would be good too. He moved 3 times already. You're down 12? Well, he brought his food with him, right? Why not bring... Wow. Can you even get another combat now? You're going to have 3 combat cards. I mean, you're about to enlist here, so you're going to get your 3rd combat card. But It's Tagawa's turn now. He's about to make... She's about to make a mech. And everyone's going to have 7 or more power. And plenty of cards. Maybe Rustviet's sitting on 2 5s. And they're pretty confident they can turn around and hit Nordic up there on the village. Let's check in on the score here. Gawa now at 40. Choosing to pass on that move option. Or rather, choosing to move. Sensing perhaps that Rustviet's getting close to being able to end. Which, I mean, they're right about. If Rustviet has the cards, they can attack Nordic up here. Or if Tagawa had stayed on that tunnel. Yeah, I agree, Derp. I think waiting. I probably would have bolstered deployed, but I'm not sure that's the better move. I think maybe it was better to go ahead and move out. Better to go ahead and get a worker on that village. I don't know how I feel about maximizing the spread here. I think you've pushed Rustviet to a point where they can't end. And now it would take you 3 produce actions to get your worker star. So by spreading out to this forest, instead of just putting 2 workers on this village, you take yourself a little bit out of the driver's seat when it comes to controlling the pace of the game. Yeah, it's think like Settlers of Catan meets Risk. I don't know if you've ever played Settlers of Catan. Uh-oh. Nordic making a move. That was a factory card, right? Started on this lake. Up 3 coin for doing it. The Gawa right now beating Rustviet without the bid. Even with some decent spread from 4 stars from Rustviet. Rustviet's in some real trouble here. I mean, I think Rustviet has to seriously consider if they're playing for second at this point. I mean, it's still early in the game. No one else has more than 2 stars. You don't have to end it. This game, unless Tagawa is planning on deploying the Riverwalk mech on village to counter Rustviet into the Crimean Island. And Nordic picking up a cheap combat against Rustviet, but giving Rustviet the opportunity to play that too and cycle one of their bad cards. Settlers of Catan is also a board game. This is a board game. This is just an online version of it. What's Rust going to do here? Hey, Brian, you think Tagawa might deploy the Riverwalk mech on the village to counter Rustviet into the Crimean Island? It's possible. Definitely. Rustviet moves a mech over here. You could pick up a combat star. Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about the way the Rustviet spread played out. Nordic now down to 4 power though. Rustviet has 3 3s. They can end this. They won't win, but they can end it. Mugskull, how's the score looking? Tagawa's winning straight up. So with the bid, they're up by 34. I mean, there's no way Rust can end if they want to win. And if they move and list here, then they can't win another combat. And the board knows it. Maybe you move and then don't enlist. Hero of Canton, how early did Russ get all 8 workers? To turn 5. I mean, does Rusviet go to the factory here and just pray that there's a combat card for 2 popularity card in there somehow? And most of the encounters are gone. They have a worker here. They could pick this one up with their character. That score again. Right now, Rusviet in last with Tagawa in first, Nordic in second, and Albion in third. I think Rusviet just needs to spread where he can't get attacked easily. Yeah, maybe you just start bumping these workers with Tagawas. Maybe you drop a worker here, move all 3 of your mechs to here, and then the next turn, bump all 3 of these guys. Do you think with that Hive of Bid, should they have waited on the worker star and maybe tried to make tier 2 pop? So Rusviet Innovative is so fast that it is reasonable to cover that bid because you can get 50-something coins in 12 turns. Unfortunately for them in this game, the players all made pretty early grabs for the center of the board, and that hurt Rusviet's ability to spread out, which cost them. Also, Tagawa has run a tremendous coin engine, give them loads of credit, and that has basically what has kept Rusviet from ending this game. I mean, set aside Tagawa's score for a minute. If Tagawa's not in this game, Rusviet just needs 22 to close. Or, excuse me, yeah, 22 to close, which is totally doable. But getting another 12 on top of that is going to be rough. Rusviet just praying for 3 pop off this encounter, I think. They don't need any resources, so the only reason they would go to this is popularity. Starting to take the Crimean Peninsula. Question is, are we going to see an enlist this turn? I don't think so. Pressing it now for the first time in the technical lead, although not even close in the bid. Thinking about this third move. I mean, I think if you're Rusviet at this point, you have to do one of 2 things. One of a couple things. You have to either try to get to the next tier of popularity and stretch your lead out into the 70s, or you have to just outright commit to tier 1 and start sending Tagawa's stuff home. Tagawa's extremely vulnerable. You may not be able to do much about their character with them sitting on 5 power, but you can send these workers home, you can flip these traps. Tagawa's only got 21 of their 42 points wrapped up in coin. You can take away most of the rest. And if Tagawa moves to the factory, there's no trap token there, so they become significantly more vulnerable. Red Menace is sweating, guys. What does Rusty's chance of taking second look like right now? Still have to get 60 to hit that. It's gonna be tough, guys. And look, I mean, Nordic has no territories. Nothing to take away from Nordic. And you hit them there, they have Seaworthy. I guess you could hit them there and take away one territory. That's not going to do that much. Derp still believes, guys. Don't count Rusviet out. Need 30 though. And that is not the encounter you wanted to see. Getting another popularity. How does Rusviet do it, Derp? Does he just plod along and get himself into tier 2? Make all those territories worth an extra coin? I mean, the factory's still out there. He could hold the factory with character, a worker, and a mech. Even have 3 combat cards? He does. Gawa making their mech this turn. He takes 3 territories away from Tagawa and gets the factory, and maybe one more encounter for 2 coins. Guess he can pick up this encounter in village to village with township and go to this mountain. Grab the factory. I mean, I don't think you have to be in a hurry if you're Rusviet, right? No one's threatening to end this game. It's only round 12. I mean, maybe at some point you just start trading for popularity. What is Albion gonna do? Sitting on 16 coin. Now in last place. Albion's gonna grab the factory. And that right there is what Rusviet would have liked to see as 2 popularity off one of these encounters. Who is going to end this game? Downside if you're Tagawa, and we alluded to this earlier, is that you've spread out your workers now and sort of compromised your engine. Nordic picks up its 2nd star. So, I mean, what's your plan to get more stars if you're Tagawa? You have 1 mech, but you're not on metal anymore. I suppose you can trade for metal. You have 3 workers, so you're 3 produce actions away from a worker star. You get a couple combats. I mean, guy was sitting at 8 power to Albion 6. Albion does have the shield mech. It's an even fight. Did Tagawa pick up Ronin? No, they went Suton. Maybe Tagawa looking to just grab some more territory. The rest of it can't take away from it. Mechs look pretty cool, guys, huh? So what do we do here for Rusviet? We brought our resources with us. We probably don't want to start bumping these workers with this mech, right? Because we're not sure we want to enlist. We just sit there with those resources exposed if we bring them with us. But they're kind of exposed anyway. Well, Tagawa didn't take Toka, so they're not that exposed. I'm gonna say if Tagawa goes to the factory and gets a factory card, Tagawa went with Suton. Yeah, because that's what has me wondering. I mean, Tagawa has enough points right now that Rusviet's going to have a hard time winning this, but on the flip side, I don't see how Tagawa ends. I mean, maybe your plan is just to start bumping Rusviet workers. Just trying to force Russ to end the game. That's one thing that Russ can't afford, is for Tagawa to start bumping their workers. It's just, I really don't know. I mean, it seems like the smart money would be on Tagawa right now, based on the score. Rusviet now just needing 26. Up to 16 coin now. I mean, if you're Rusviet, I mean, you could trade twice, get an upgraded pop and trade. Or just, yeah, you could trade twice, upgrade your trade action, and then trade for popularity twice. I mean, it's incredibly inefficient. It gets you to turn 17. But it'd be a huge boost in points. Points that you're going to have a hard time getting another way. Alright, Rusviet grabbing that encounter like we thought they might. Just praying for 3 pop off this. Has he done the math? If he gets 3 pop off this... $161. If Rusviet gets 3 popularity off this encounter, I think he can enlist and win the game. By 13. No dice. It's gonna get him 1. 13 coin lead. Needs 17. Where's it going to come from? He's ending it. Russ is ending it. That's game, guys. So what have we got? We have... He did it! He hadn't gotten his popularity from the enlist yet, guys. We forgot about the popularity from the enlist. He hit tier 2. He did it. Oh my gosh. What a finish. What a finish. Good game for sure. I completely forgot. Completely forgot that he hadn't gotten the popularity off his enlist bonus yet. But yeah, we said if he got tier 2 and spread out that he could get it. Thought he needed 2 more pop. That was an amazing finish. So the scores are what you see. Rustfield in first, Tagawa in second, Nordic in third, and Albion in fourth. Well, that was a great game, guys, and we're going to have another great one in about an hour and 45 minutes. So I'm going to cut the stream, but I'm going to be back in a little over an hour and a half for round 2. Well, it's round 4, group, I forget, group 6, I think. Doesn't matter. It's going to be another great game with some great players. So I'll see you then.